Jake is a happy little boy that does want to engage with people. He just doesn't know how to go about doing that properly.
From 10, 20 feet away, Andrew looks like most normal 13-year-old boys.
She loves to sing. She sings constantly.
You think he's not picking up any of it, and then if somebody had an argument in the house, he'll come home, he'll do a holler symbol. He does everything with his eyes. He tells the whole thing. It was Labor Day, September 3rd, 1996. We had an event down here in the camp. I just wanted to make sure, that he was weak. I said, I think he's dehydrated. I said, what's your name? He said, Kyle McCormick Page. He was very well spoken at 3.5. And that was the last time he talked.
Karina was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy. She was diagnosed with the most severe type 1. Spinal muscular atrophy is probably the closest thing to Lou Gehrig's disease. It's its sister disease, if you can call it, but it's for children and infants, where it's a total muscle-involved disease. Cognitively, these children aren't affected mentally at all. They're extremely bright children, and they're just very sociable, very, wonderfully, acclimated. It's just their muscles are just affected tremendously, specifically the swallowing and the breathing muscles.
Jake is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, which he has PDD-NOS, pervasive developmental disorder. He looks typical. Little boy running around, he's happy, he's smiling, but it's not until you're with him longer where you see the disability. He has a hard time understanding just basic concepts, or social interaction is hard for him.
Ataxia-telangiectasia is a neurodegenerative disease that combines a number of diseases into one. So children with AT have common symptoms of cystic fibrosis, a high incidence of cancer, specifically leukemia and lymphoma, immune deficiency, and they have the ability, their muscle strength is fine, but muscle control is an issue for them. Ocular motor movement in their eyes is affected, speech is affected. Most of the children by the age of 10 are in a wheelchair. Many of the children have feeding tubes, but cognitively, the kids, are very aware of everything going on, and they learn the same, and they have fun the same, and enjoy life the same. Everybody has something that's difficult in their life. So we happen to be lucky to have family and friends that are incredibly supportive. Mm-hmm. And Andrew has been given a lot of amazing opportunities. We're not really being inspirational because I see how much you love your kids. So it's just that we're in different situations. And if the roles were reversed, I don't have a single doubt in my mind that you would do the same thing.
We don't really feel like we're an inspiration. I think we both feel like we're good parents, and that we have been given a gift from God. And I've said this to many people. I don't believe it's how strong how heavy the load is. I believe it's how strong your back is.
Karina couldn't be easier to take care of, and I mean that. People think I'm bananas when I say that. She's so involved medically. Her care it's easy. Once you learn it, you get so much feedback from her. And she's like, thank you, and how was your day, Mom? And just those little things. And she's always laughing. How can you not appreciate that? The amount of sleep we get, you just can't measure it. It's usually we'll go to bed at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. We're up in a couple hours to turn her. She usually gets turned every couple hours. Sometimes you'll turn her and she's not liking that side so much, so you have to get up. So your sleep's constantly interrupted. I don't think I've had 8 hours sleep in 12 years.
It's not just Kyle that's disabled. I didn't have typical experiences with my children that didn't have disabilities because, if you guys know sports, it's very intensive. I also work. I said, you can't come home and even go to the grocery store because somebody's, you can't get them out of bed in there. I mean, you will drop from exhaustion every single day. Things come up every day. And as far as support services, like, oh, he's not qualified for that, or you can't go out, but I can't go to the store and leave my little one. I can't take everybody just to go to get a loaf of bread is a major event. My youngest son has cried a lot lately. He's just like, I never have both my parents there, ever. And I said, that's true, and I'm sorry for that, but How do you choose between, there is no choice for Kyle. It's a nursing home or that, and that's not an option. So it's a consideration every single second.
We get many different reactions when we go out with Karina. You never know what to expect. Some people just surprise the heck out of you. Sometimes the biggest, burliest person is the gentlest person that'll bend down and say, "How you doing, Karina?" And she lights up like a Christmas tree. That's worth more than anything you can give someone, is recognizing someone that they're human.
Jake wants to talk to you, but he doesn't know how to approach that. Maybe he'll see a little girl in a store and he'll want to talk to her, but he'll poke her. And then the girl won't like that, and maybe the little girl will get upset. Or
The biggest challenge with Andrew in public and in places where he hasn't been before, or he's meeting people that he's never met before, is it takes him a lot longer to process. So if someone says hello to him, he's still waiting to get the answer out like that. So a lot of times when you're in public and he meets somebody, Andrew has this sort of blank look. We know that he's trying to come up with the answer, but the person he's meeting for the first time isn't sure what's going on. And a lot of times you get the strange look of what's going on.
Children in general are much better at it than our age group. We see children often want to know, what's wrong with him? Why is he in a wheelchair? I personally welcome those questions. I think it's cute. I think it's sweet that kids want to know. I don't think it comes from a bad place. They don't understand. Why isn't he walking like I am? And a lot of times Andrew will give rides to little children on his wheelchair, and they think it's the coolest thing in the world. The more information that you give to adults and children, the more that they're okay with it.
If someone's just looking at you, smile at them. And a lot of times people are taken aback because they're not expecting her to come out with, "Hey, how you doing?" And when they do, they're like, like, "Oh, yeah, hi, how you doing?" And, and sometimes the most unassuming person, as I said, will go up to her. It's usually like the biggest guy in the room. They'll bend down and say, "Hey, kiddo, how are you?" And she's like, "Good." She has a wicked sense of humor. She just loves playing jokes on people. And you wouldn't think that. Like, you see a child in a wheelchair with the ventilator, and you're like, how is this child capable of such, humor and empathy?
We sit in his room. We used to do it with my mom. Sunday mornings, we said we're going to have coffee talk. And we'd sit around and, talk family stuff. He has a symbol for coffee talk. And
we celebrate all little things. When Jake got dressed for the first time by himself when he was 6.
Little things that most parents just take for granted are victories for Jake. Not having to be prompted to say hi or bye to me in the morning is a victory. I mean, those are all things that put smiles, that get us motivated for the rest of the day.
The day that we put him in a typical classroom was a happy celebration for us.
Andrew is very much aware of the things that he can and cannot do. And he wants to participate just as much as anybody else would want to. And yet it doesn't kill his spirit, and he's very determined. He has determination, he has persistence. He will not give in at all.
we've done a lot of stuff with him. We used to take the wheelchair, the manual chair, when he was smaller, and we could hold it on the side of the golf carts too. We just kind of drive so that he was getting, the feeling of, what kids like, that motion, that faster motion.
I tell people that the best thing you can do is just spend time with her. And that was my thing from when she was a baby. We didn't know how much time we were going to have with her. But the grandparents get right in there and they watch American Idol with her, and she loves that show. She likes to sing. She has a whole critique of everything. She has certain opinions about everything. She loves having her nails done. I had a friend that was a hairdresser. I'd really like to spend time with Karina, but what can I really do for her? I said, come over and paint her nails. She comes over and paints her nails all the time, and Karina thinks it's the best. You take everything for granted. You don't realize that when you have a child that can't do a scope of things, the littlest thing is a victory. So as far as even when the children were little and they're getting, caught around your legs and you're trying to have a conversation and you can't focus and you're trying to cook, and most moms would be yelling at kids or dads would be yelling at kids, I would be excited to have that. breathing, you know, is something you'd probably never thought of because it's such an involuntary thing that we both do, but breathing is such a vital thing in Karina's life, and I depend on her ventilator to tell me, is she breathing correctly? So if it's a good day, that's a victory that she's breathing okay. Do you really look at your children on a normal basis and say, hey, Johnny's breathing today, it's a good day? No, of course not, and nobody would expect you to, but we do.
Accessibility in older cities, it's difficult. There isn't really a lot of accessibility. You know, storefronts are up a couple of steps and they don't all have access.
The biggest thing that I would like to see changed is the equipment issues and the other, you know, kind of outpatient services for children and adults for that matter. Just attaining equipment and getting people more receptive to either coming to the home and fitting them for wheelchairs, or like insurance companies recognizing that these kids need equipment and they need them fast because they grow, they change, their bones change, and they can't wait 6 months to a year for a special wheelchair, a special bath chair, or a device that helps a parent, you know, take a child from its wheelchair into its bed. A lot of times the insurance companies do not recognize that parents need assistance. Just, you know, having a higher bed, that's a convenience issue according to them, so they're not going to pay for that. Oh yes. So they give you the lower bed, and parents are picking up, like Karina's 72 pounds, and, you know, try deadlifting and squatting and picking Karina up and putting her into a wheelchair.
It was a piece of the vent. It's a little rubber coupling. Without it, he doesn't get any airway. Didn't have any. I don't know if, I mean, I'm not there. I go to work. Did the nurses throw it out? I had none. Put him on. I go, he's dropping. So I'm ambuing. I'm like, and I'm looking. Then I'm doing it, you know, breathing for him. I'm trying to go through, I mean, I'm grabbing bags and spreading it, see if I can find one. I had to go through the trash and get it. So I called the medical supplier the next day and I said, these are probably 25 cents. I said, I need couplings. Yeah, you get 4 a month. I go, well, I don't have any, and he's not ventilated. I can't keep him ventilated. Well, it says 4 a month. This goes on, this circular discussion. I said, this is a life-sustaining item. I have to have it.
We just try to get Jake to become independent in this world, because independence is not first nature to him. Nothing's first nature to him. So we just do our best to teach him, and our goal is for him to become independent so that he can be on his own one day successfully, we hope. Well, the Wink brand to me would symbolize I get it. If the brand took off and someone did that to me, then I would feel so happy, like relaxed and calm and accepted, because you understand our struggle and you understand his struggle.
It's sort of a combination of understanding, caring, and knowledge.
Knowledge. It means knowledge to me. Knowledge.
These kids deserve just everything, and why shouldn't we just smile at them, wink at them, do something really fantastic for them?
Does that work?
It works.